Hello and welcome to Table Talk. I'm your host Karen Wilson, and we are so happy you have joined us today. Our topic for today's show is local recycling effort called Discard Discussion, and our guests are Mr. Michael Mallner and Sheri Denning from the Discard Discussion group. Guys, thank you so much for coming on to Table Talk today.
Hey.
Good to have you, Sheri. You're an old hat at this, and Michael, this is your first time, so we'll be gentle with you, and it's just going to be fun. Let's talk about. You're welcome. Let's talk about some of the things that I wasn't aware that was going on. As far as recycling efforts goes locally, it seems the idea, I guess, started with you. You're an environmental engineer.
That's right.
At the company that you work for, and you kind of formed this discussion group about recycling and on a large scale, I guess, when it comes to factories and things like that. Tell us about, the beginning and what gave you the idea.
So in 2016, I attended a conference put on by TDEC. That's the Tennessee Division of Environment and Conservation. It's basically Tennessee's version of the EPA. And at this conference, they unveiled an idea that was coming down the pipeline called the materials marketplace. And the concept behind the materials marketplace was that there were businesses in Tennessee that were throwing things away that maybe other businesses could use, but there really wasn't any way for anyone to find out whether, what was available and what wasn't, so a lot of opportunities were being missed. So what they were doing for this materials marketplace was they made a tool where companies could list what they were throwing away, and other companies could search through and maybe find some raw materials or find some supplies at a lower cost than they were already getting them. But at that time, the materials marketplace I think it was at least a year away from actually being functional. And I thought, that's a really good idea. It would be great if we could do something like that locally. And so I reached out to Don Alexander at the McMinnville Warren County Industrial Development Board. And when I first was talking to him, I was thinking maybe we'd have like a one-page website where businesses would list things, or maybe we'd all get together, some businesses one time, and a few people would find outlets for materials. But Don was so supportive, and Warren County was so supportive, that when we started bringing businesses in, this idea for a small or one-time thing kind of grew. And what came out of that were the discard discussions. And so the reason that we picked the name discard discussion, when you call something waste or garbage, that really implies it doesn't have any value, right? You throw garbage away, you don't want it anymore, nobody wants garbage. But if you're discarding something, it's more, well, I don't have a use for it, so I'm discarding it, but maybe somebody else has a use for it. And similarly, we also avoided the word recycle, and there's a reason for that. And I'll use an example from something that actually came out of the group. But basically, these discard discussions are a meeting that happens every other month between representatives of local businesses, representatives from local government, and TDEC, nonprofit sustainability organizations. And companies will come and they will sort of share with the group materials that they are discarding, and they will also look for opportunities from other local companies for something that they could use. Mm-hmm. And the reason we didn't use the word recycle was we didn't want anyone to hear, oh, it's a local recycling group. My company already recycles, we're ahead of the game, or I don't know if there's anything I can offer because I'm recycling my material. And an example I'll give for that is there's a local business that uses plastic containers. They're plastic boxes as part of their manufacturing process. And when they're done with them, they have no more use for them. So they will send them out to be recycled. And that's the right way to handle it. Keep it out of the landfill. That's the right kind of thinking. But through this group, what's happening now is companies will buy those plastic containers, other local companies, and so they're being reused instead of being broken down. When you recycle something, you have to spend the energy to transport it to a recycling center. That material is going to be broken down, chipped up. It's going to be sent someplace else. It's going to be melted, and then it's going to be remanufactured. And there's a cost associated with that, energy cost, a time cost, a labor cost. Well, when you have somebody taking that in its original form and using it in a nearby area, you cut all of that out. So not only is this business now getting more money for the material that they don't need, but companies in the area, some of them with 1,000 employees, some of them with just 2 people who are open, 1 day a week, they now have a source for supplies that are significantly cheaper than if they were to buy them new or they were to order them.
Right, so I never had really thought about that you have much less energy spent even if you don't even have to recycle it, but you reuse it in the same way, just as if you would a canning jar or something like that.
Absolutely.
That you're in its same form, you're just someone else is using it, maybe for something totally different, but still nonetheless they are using it, and it's less energy and all of that. Well, Sheri, tell us about, I guess, the industrial community, their involvement, how the reception that has been as far as your experience goes.
What we've seen on the committee is there are several different industries that have been involved, and so we have a couple of core group members that come and are at pretty much every meeting. They regularly bring materials, so we actually, it's a show and tell in a lot of cases, so we bring the materials that we have or that they have and pass them around, and okay, here, what are some potential uses for these? We have one company particularly that handles a lot of different kinds of recyclable materials, and they will bring in these type of things and say, okay, what could we do with this? And so we think about ways. I think that was actually our first meeting.
Kind of brainstorming.
Yeah,
alternative
brainstorming what
ways.
things can be done, and those blue plastic containers are a great example of that, because we have some folks using them in their operations, in industry operations. We have folks using them in their farms. We have folks using them in their closets, in their garages, in schools. And so, this company, it's a waste for them, but for everyone else, it's a brand new material. And so I think that industry in general, from my experience and from what I've seen, really has embraced that and realizes, once you get past that stigma of we're reusing, we're recycling, or whatever, it really is just good business sense. It's reducing costs, it's reducing, the exposure to losses, and it's also improving efficiencies in a lot of places. That's been very well received.
That's the hook, I think, for a lot of people. It's all about efficiency. We're all much more environmentally conscientious than what we used to be. But when it comes to a business, that's a big draw for them.
It's all about the dollars.
It is, and it has to speak to them for that, and we understand that. So, Michael, tell us, I guess, how this discussion that started a few years ago, how it's evolved, and tell us about the big award that you all received this year.
So I'm going to answer your question a little backwards, all right?
Go right ahead.
So the award that we got, the Tennessee Recycling Coalition, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting waste reduction and recycling in Tennessee, gave the Discard discussion the 2018 Nonprofit Recycler of the Year. And the reason they did that, it wasn't just for the materials exchanges that we were able to facilitate. It was for the model itself of this, local group that was able to sort of share their similar problems and similar challenges. And it was done at low cost, low risk, and it's something that's easily replicated by other associations or in other communities that want to try something similar. So, you're asking, how's it changed? How's it grown? So initially, we were very focused on the materials exchange. It was like Sheri said, it was a show and tell. You bring some stuff, everyone would look at it. Maybe someone would have a use for it, maybe they wouldn't. And from there, it started to grow a little bit. So, okay, no one at this table right now has a use, but what industry would have a use for it? What local industry, or what part of that we call it a waste stream, the materials you're discarding. What part of that might have a use here? And then from there, people would, when we got together, so here's what I have this week. By the way, since last time we talked, we tried something on some of this equipment we had, and now we have half the amount of waste oil. And I know some of you guys here use that same equipment. You might want to look into it. Here's the vendor that we talked to about it. And at the same time, we had TDEC and other nonprofits joining these meetings and would say, by the way, guys, there's this grant from the state of Tennessee if you're buying this equipment. I know some of you might be doing that, might be interested in applying. Or there's this free program where students from Tennessee Tech will evaluate your energy usage and find ways for your company to save money. So it went from just a material exchange to sort of like an idea exchange. And that's kind of where the expo came from. So one of the advantages of having this kind of small local group is we all share similar challenges with respect to what resources are available to us, what vendors service our area, utility costs, and that kind of thing. So when someone from the committee brings an idea forwards, everyone else, there's no shoehorning it in like, I heard this is a great idea, let me try to make it work. It's someone in a similar situation to me was able to make it work. What can I learn from that, and how can I make that work for me? Mm-hmm. And so many opportunities and so many ideas were coming up that we thought, well, how can we share this with like a larger group? And that's kind of where the expo comes in. So what the expo is not, it's not, hey, let's get together and tell you that you need to recycle, right? I think as a community, we're past that. We have recycling programs. Like Sheri said, it's cost effective to recycle stuff very frequently, so that's already happening. What this is, it's targeted towards businesses that maybe don't have the time or the resources to have a dedicated environmental staff. This is for the maintenance manager or the safety manager, and they've just had environmental kind of dumped in their lap. And we as a committee, as the discard discussion group, we have already kind of brought together and found all these resources that may apply to them that they might not have time to find on their own. Mm-hmm. And so we want them to come out. It's a short time commitment, 1 day, low cost commitment, and they can come out from their company and they can come back with a whole bunch of, hey, here's a free program, here's an opportunity, here's how we can impact the bottom line by saving money for the company, but not only that, we're doing something positive for the community. Mm-hmm. And that's something that they might want to do, but they just don't have the time to do it, and we want to bring that to them.
Right, so it sounds like it's gone from some of the larger industries in the area, or not from, but that's where it started, to maybe involving some of the smaller businesses, like you said, maybe 2 to 100 employees or mm-hmm. whatever, but a lot of them do not have the means to have, as you said, environmental, person in charge of that. Mm-hmm. So, Sheri, how can these small businesses learn more about it, and how can they contribute? It may start with just attending the expo.
Right, yeah, so what the event is called the Green Solutions Small Business Expo, and that will be held on March 8th. We're doing that at Bridgestone Learning Center. And as Mike mentioned, it's really more of an event for people to come and learn what they don't know. We don't know what we don't know. I totally get how some people feel, because I was also one of those folks early in my career where I came into a position and then about 6 months later I inherited environmental health and safety. And I knew safety and I knew health, but I knew nothing about environmental regulations. I knew nothing about environmental compliance. And so there were a lot of people along the way that mentored and helped me. And so that's really where this came from, is from all of us having different experiences and different perspectives, and realizing that even though some of us work for bigger companies, folks who work for smaller companies have just as many responsibilities and sometimes more. But they don't necessarily have the resources or support to do the things that they need to do to stay in compliance and to make sure that they are really capitalizing on all the opportunities that they have to improve their waste stream, or improving their costs. So this expo will give folks the opportunity to come in and learn from experts, to come in and learn from other companies, representatives that maybe have been through similar experiences, maybe have resources or networking that they don't have. It's a very minimal cost. So attendance to the event is only $25. And we wanted to keep that as low as possible so that anyone really could, if you can get away for that 8 to 3 hour, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. time frame, then you can make it work for you.
And I'm sure it's kind of come and go. You may have 2 hours to spend,
and
that would be fine as well.
It is. The types of learning events that we'll have are spaced out into hours. So, there might be one at 9 and 10 and 11, and that schedule will be posted. So if someone is really interested only in the morning session, they can come get all the information that they need from TDEC or from whatever session that they're interested in, have some lunch, and head back to work if they wanted to. Or if they really only wanted to do the afternoon, they really wanted to hear what's going on with the materials marketplace, then maybe, they do it opposite that, come have lunch with us and then stay for the afternoon sessions. There's so much information that we have to share. The Department of Environment and Conservation has been amazing. They have really stepped up. Not only are they sponsoring, but the Office of Sustainable Practice has been involved with everything that we're doing. The outreach coordinator, Tara Wolgamuth, has been involved from the very beginning in our discussion. She's also very involved with the IDB in general. So she's been integral to help Dawn bring businesses in and bring information to our community about what TDEC has to offer.
And on a state level, she probably knows about resources and things that other areas are doing, and kind of can jumpstart the discussion group on on things that other places are doing. Michael, tell us about, I know we all want to involve students and get them on board and thinking about this, recycling, reusing, all of those things. How's the school system getting involved? And tell us about the Big Fish Tank project and what that is.
I'll let you answer that.
Okay. All right, I would be happy to. So the Big Fish Tank is a school project that we devised. We're taking in this money because the sponsors are, providing financial responsibility
some
for
prizes
this, right?
Too.
Right. So we will have sponsorship dollars that are available, and we decided the best way to use those is to encourage students to find ways to reduce waste. So the way that we've done that is we've modeled it after the reality TV show Shark Tank, but of course we can't use that name because that's already copyrighted. So we decided to go with the Big Fish Tank, but a very similar model. So we are encouraging teams from all of our school system, from Warren County School System, from private school, and also from homeschool groups to form teams and research and find some sort of waste reduction project that their group can do that they will need some funding for. So we are offering basically grant money based on how much money we receive for sponsorships for the Green Solutions Expo. We will offer that amount of grant monies to teams that create these projects. So they will decide what sort of project they want. It might be a reduce, it might be a recycle, it might be a reuse, but something that they can use in their school, in their community, or in some organization. And then once that project is ready, then we will have an event where they'll come together, present their projects, and basically do a sales pitch in order to receive the grant money for the project.
That's a great experience for students to have to go the whole way with it as far as researching the presentation. A lot of thought will be, and you make it worth their while, as I said.
Absolutely.
There's prizes.
Yes.
Every participant gets a t-shirt,
That's
sounds
right.
like,
That's
and
right.
all kinds of neat things. Plus, that's something great to put on your college,
It absolutely is. It's such a
resume.
great experience, for students to really be able to go out and find their own projects, do all the research, because we have some criteria set up. So they're going to have to figure out how to do it, how much it's going to cost, what are the obstacles that they have to overcome, and really kind of use that, problem-solving process to get to the end result. And then they get the wonderful feeling that comes from showing someone, this is all the work that I've done. And the companies that that have sponsored so far, every dollar, so for every dollar spent, 50 cents of that goes to this project. So for our sponsors that are $500 sponsors, 250 of those dollars goes to the Big Fish Tank project. So we have, a good amount of money that we can spend, and we want to make sure that it stays, in that project.
So tell us about the how the kids or the school systems can learn more about participating in the Big Fish Tank.
So for the event itself and also for the Big Fish Tank project, we do have a website that we have created. It's greensolutions-warrencounty.com. And it's searchable on Google, so anybody can find that if they put those words in, even if you don't remember the whole thing. But it has pages specific to the Big Fish Tank. So there's a brochure that we have created that schools can download. There are also project pages that give examples of some things and kind of some idea starters for folks to use whenever they are trying to decide what sort of project they want to do. It can be a team of 2, it can be a team of 10, they can be any ages. We've basically selected from 2nd grade up till 12th grade, but really, if someone's willing to work with younger students, they could make that work. Just seemed like that might be an easier grade, easier time to do, but we set it up to have I think it was 2nd grade through 7th grade kind of competing against each other, and then 8th through 12th grade sort of competing against each other, so that it kind of evens it out. So you don't have 2nd graders against 12th graders.
And that might, they may could teach the 12th graders a little something.
You never can tell what's going to happen in those kinds of situations. Children are so amazing, and how much they retain, and the children that are growing up today have access to so many more resources and so many more ideas, and they don't see as many obstacles as we did, when we were growing up. They see everything as a big wide open canvas. Well, why not? So I'm really excited about that aspect of this project.
That's very cool, and we want to encourage all the science clubs and the science teachers, or just younger people that are buddies that are interested in anything like that, to go check that out.
Absolutely.
And give us just the final details of attending the event, the March event. You said it's going to be at Bridgestone.
That's right.
I guess they're a big sponsor of it due to
Yes, they are.
that. So is it the same website that you can go to learn more about that?
Yes, greensolutions-warrencounty.com. There's an attendee registration form there, so people can sign up online. You can also contact the Chamber of Commerce, and they will sign you up there. And if someone wants to write a check instead of pay with a credit card, they can send that money to the Chamber. The Chamber is also a major sponsor for us. And on that note, I would like to mention all of the sponsors, if that's okay.
Yes.
We have the McMinnville Warren County Industrial Development Board, the McMinnville Warren County Chamber of Commerce. We have Bridgestone. We have Newell Brands. We have Middle Tennessee Natural Gas. Project Hometown Help is also a major sponsor. And who am I forgetting? Seems like I'm forgetting someone. Southern Central.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Very appropriate
So
for them.
we have a wonderful, and of course we cannot forget Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. They have been fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to the presentation that's going to be given on materials marketplace. Mike mentioned that earlier. That is something that's been a long time coming. There was a marketplace several years ago, and some people may remember how that worked. It was very kind of disjointed. You would put materials on, but you never heard anything back, or you would be looking for something and you really could never find anything. It was hard to manage and read. This is completely different. Once this website was launched, it's not just a website, it's like a full service program. So when a person puts materials on that marketplace, they're assigned to a representative, and that representative follows up and helps you follow leads and make sure that people are connecting and that communications are happening, and when this lead closes, is there another one? It's remarkable, and that's a free service given by TDEC.
And I would say, I'm sure you would not turn them away. Of course, we are shown in White County, Van Buren County,
Yes.
Grundy.
Yes.
The expo is open to
Absolutely.
anyone to
Yes.
come
Absolutely.
because just in a region, even it's not too much to
Not at all.
have someone from Coffee County or any
Not at
place
all.
like that
We
come
would love that.
participate.
If things go well and we decide to do this again next year, we would love to grow it every year. And TDEC is helping us with a guest list, and it will include everyone in this region. So absolutely, anyone who's willing to drive from whatever distance, we would love to have them come, because it truly is for everyone. Even someone who's seasoned for 10 or 15 or 20 years in that business will find something of use in this program.
I would think, even with us at Ben Lomond, spools and
Yes.
wiring and things like that, which we recycle a lot of that, but there could be potentially people in the area that could use it as it is
That's
in
right.
its current
And
state.
maybe willing to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what we've all kind of found, is that not only could someone use this, sometimes they're also willing to pay for it because it's such a huge reduction in what their costs would have been. So
Okay.
it's a
Well,
big
I
deal.
commend you both. Michael, what a great thing you've got going in this area just from your attendance in a conference, and we are thrilled that you came back and had enough initiative to grow this idea. That is wonderful for people in our area to really grab on to those ideas. And good luck with your conference. We'll certainly try to be attending, and it'll be a great day. So we appreciate you guys coming onto the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
We appreciate
welcome.
you having
You're
us.
welcome. Well, thank you for coming to the table today to learn more about all of these wonderful reusable and recycling efforts in our area. And we invite you to come back next week for more Table Talk.